Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything that's happened over the last few weeks. It feels like I've been living inside some twisted soap opera, and somehow I'm being cast as the villain when I never asked to be involved in this mess in the first place. I, 38 male, have been married to my wife, 35 female, for a decade. We've had our share of ups and downs, like any couple, but overall, we've built a solid life together. Her family has always been involved in our lives, especially her older brother, Matt, 40 male. Matt is one of those guys who peaked in high school. Varsity football, popular with the girls, always had something smart to say, and never quite grew out of that cocky big brother energy. He's a functioning alcoholic, if you ask me, though the family prefers to tiptoe around the issue and say he likes his drinks. He's always been the life of the party, but also the type who says something wildly inappropriate and then laughs it off like everyone else is uptight for not finding it funny. Matt has been married to Tara, 34 female, for 6 years. They have a daughter, Emily, who just turned 4. She's adorable, no doubt about it. Bright eyes, bubbly personality. One of those kids who will chat your ear off about dinosaurs and bugs and her favorite cereal. Over the years, we've seen a fair amount of them at family gatherings, birthdays, and holidays, and nothing ever seemed out of place. I never paid much attention to who Emily looked like, because honestly, who cares? She's a kid. But apparently, Matt has been obsessing over it in silence, because what happened next flipped our entire family upside down. 2 months ago, Matt hosted a birthday barbecue at his place. Nothing major, just some burgers, beers, close family, and a few friends. My wife and I were there. His parents came, a couple of cousins, and Tara, of course. At first, things were going smoothly. The grill was going, the kids were running around the yard, music playing, classic laid-back Saturday stuff. But as the sun went down and the beer flowed, Matt got louder and sloppier. He's one of those guys who thinks he gets funnier the drunker he gets, but really he just starts blurting out things that make people squirm. At first, he was just poking fun at his dad for his grilling skills, then roasting one of his friends for being single at 40, and then he turned to me. He says, loud enough for the entire group to hear, "You know, OP, it's kind of crazy how much Emily looks like you, man." I blinked. I thought maybe I misheard him, or that he was making some weird joke, so I just smiled politely and didn't respond. But then he kept going. I mean, seriously, look at her smile. Identical. And her eyes. Dude, people have asked me if she got her uncle's genes. He laughed and took a swig of his beer, like he just told the funniest joke in the world, and everyone else just sat there frozen. My wife's face went pale. His mother looked mortified. Tara looked like she wanted to disappear into the ground. The air turned heavy instantly. But Matt wasn't done. He leaned back in his chair and said, "Maybe you and Tara got a little too friendly, huh? Would explain a lot." And then he winked at me. Winked. Like this was some private joke between bros. I was stunned. I felt like someone punched me in the chest. I looked at my wife and I could see the rage behind her eyes. Tara immediately stood up, muttered that Matt had had too much to drink, and told him it was time to go inside and sleep it off. She dragged him away by the arm, and the rest of us just sat there, not sure what to say or do. The gathering ended not long after that. Everyone made their excuses and left. The drive home was silent. My wife kept shaking her head in disbelief. I was still trying to process what the hell had just happened. It wasn't just a joke. It didn't feel like one. There was venom behind it. A weird bitterness that had clearly been festering for a while. The next morning, I couldn't let it go. I kept replaying it in my head. I had done nothing wrong. I had never once even looked at Tara inappropriately, let alone done anything with her. And yet now Matt had planted this disgusting seed in front of our entire family. And I knew if I didn't deal with it head on, it would fester. So I called him. He sounded hungover and half asleep. I told him we needed to talk. I told him what he said was way out of line. That it was beyond inappropriate, that he had basically accused me of sleeping with his wife and fathering his child. He laughed, said I was being too sensitive, that it was just a joke, that I needed to lighten up. I told him fine, if it was a joke, then he shouldn't mind proving it. I said we needed to do a paternity test, just to shut it down, once and for all. There was a long pause. Then he said I was crazy, that I was trying to stir up drama, that this would humiliate Tara and destroy their marriage. Oh, I said he should have thought of that before accusing me in front of 10 people. I told him if he was so confident, he shouldn't be afraid to take the test. He refused. Then he tried to guilt trip me, said I was blowing everything up, said this was between him and his wife, and I should stay out of it. I said no. He made it about me when he said what he said in public. My wife backed me up. So did his parents. They were horrified by what he implied. Eventually, under pressure from everyone, Matt reluctantly agreed to take the test. He said he'd do it just to prove me wrong and end this circus. So we did it. He and Emily got tested. I didn't need to, because I knew there was no chance I was her father. I didn't need to prove my innocence. I needed him to prove his accusation was baseless. The results came back about 10 days later, and holy hell. I still get chills thinking about it. I wasn't the father. No surprise there, but neither was Matt. The biological paternity test confirmed it. 0% chance. He was not her biological father. The fallout was instant. Matt lost it, completely unhinged, started screaming at Tara, accusing her of cheating, calling her names, throwing things. She was sobbing, insisting she never cheated on him, that the test had to be wrong. She said she didn't understand, that there had to be some mistake, that she never slept with anyone else, said she never even thought about cheating. Her parents got involved. There was yelling, crying, accusations flying from every direction. And Matt, he spiraled. First he blamed Tara, then he blamed me. Said I put the idea in his head, that I forced this truth into the open, that if I hadn't demanded the test, they'd still be a happy family. He actually said, I never wanted to know. You made me find out. You ruined my life. A few days later, he moved out, and now he filed for divorce. Their entire marriage collapsed, and somehow I'm the villain. He's telling anyone who will listen that I destroyed his family, that I stirred up trouble where there was none, that I couldn't let a harmless joke go, and now his daughter isn't even his and he lost everything. My wife is caught in the middle. She knows I didn't do anything wrong, but she's hurt watching her family implode. Matt isn't speaking to her. He's barely speaking to their parents. They're embarrassed, heartbroken, and confused. Some extended family members think I went too far, that I should have just laughed off the drunken comment, that if I hadn't insisted on the test, none of this would have happened. But I don't see it that way. Here's what I do know. Matt accused me of something vile in front of our entire family. He didn't say it in private. He didn't whisper it after a therapy session. He said it at his own birthday party in front of my wife, his parents, and others. And if I hadn't insisted on a test, that rumor would have lived on in whispers. People would have looked at Emily, then looked at me and wondered. Maybe not out loud, maybe not even consciously, but that seed would have been planted. And when she grew up, who knows what kind of questions she might have heard behind closed doors. Yes, the truth was ugly. But I didn't cause the truth. I just refused to let a lie stand. I didn't father Matt's child. He didn't either. That's not my fault. That's reality. And if anyone ruined Matt's life, it was Matt. First, by making that disgusting accusation, and second, by opening a door he didn't want to walk through. So tell me, Reddit, am I the a-hole for demanding a paternity test after being accused of being the real father, only to reveal a secret that blew everything apart? Not the a-hole. He made a public accusation. He didn't pull OP aside in confidence, didn't approach him like a grown man, and didn't have even an ounce of class. He humiliated his wife, OP, and honestly his own daughter, by turning her paternity into a party joke. OP didn't ruin anything. Matt detonated his own life the moment he couldn't handle his alcohol, and decided to air out a suspicion he didn't have the guts to handle the answer to. If anything, OP protected himself and his reputation. Imagine how damaging this would have been if OP let it slide, and 10 years later, Emily hears whispers that Uncle OP is probably her real dad. OP stopped a lifetime of rumor and speculation. The truth was always there. OP just didn't let it stay hidden. And now let's hear community's opinion. Not the a-hole. Your brother-in-law made a serious accusation and tried to mask it as a joke because he didn't expect you to call his bluff. That's on him. The fact that he's now playing the victim because he turned out not to be the father is the most cowardly response I've seen in a while. He didn't want to know the truth. Then, maybe he should have kept his insecurities to himself instead of vomiting them all over a birthday gathering. You didn't force that outcome. You gave him a chance to clear it up. And now he has to face what was clearly already broken in his marriage. This isn't on you. He lit the match. You just refused to let him burn you with it. Absolutely not the a-hole. Your wife's brother crossed a serious line and got burned by the truth. I don't care if he was drunk. What he did was slander. Imagine if you didn't demand the test, and this turned into family gossip that festered for years. You did what a sane, level-headed man would do. You wanted to protect your name, your marriage, and make sure there was no cloud of suspicion. That he's now blaming you for discovering something that was already true is wild. He would rather be lied to forever than face reality, and that's just pathetic. You did nothing wrong. Hard not the a-hole. He started this, not you. He was the one who humiliated his wife, embarrassed himself, and tried to drag your name through the mud in front of half the family. You gave him a clean way out. Just prove you're her father, and we can all move on. Instead, the truth came out, and now he's furious that he opened a door he can't close. That's not your fault. That's consequences. People saying you should have let it go must not realize how damaging accusations like that can be. You didn't destroy his family. He did. First with his words, and then with the proof he clearly never wanted. You did the right thing. Full stop. He spent £8,000 on an engagement ring and another £1,000 on a coordinating wedding ring. He did this because we've talked about marriage previously, as somewhere our relationship would ultimately be going. But then he ambushed me with a proposal in front of both of our families, and I said no. He's now expecting me to repay him for the cost of both rings. He's saying they were custom-made months ago, so he can't return them, and he doesn't want to sell them. Therefore, I owe him half the cost of the rings, £4,500, because I indicated that I was in favor of marrying him when we discussed marriage previously. I feel that as I did not accept his proposal and have never worn these rings, I shouldn't have to pay him back. However, he, along with both of our extended families, feel that it's the least I can do for rejecting him and doing it publicly. I think I might be the a-hole because, literally, the only person on my side is Dad, who never liked my ex anyway, and my own mother and sister are siding with my ex, so I'm seriously doubting myself. Am I the a-hole? If he's going to propose to you publicly, he should be prepared to be rejected publicly, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. It is not your financial responsibility to repair his ego. I would wonder how he got it so wrong, too. But even if you had said yes, if you had changed your mind in a month, would he still be demanding this? Edit based on OP's response. What the duck? You told him 2 years was too early to get engaged and he did it anyway? Even more not the a-hole, and don't give him a damn cent. Not the a-hole? What the hell? How are you at all at fault in this situation? He ambushed you with a proposal without talking it over in advance. Big a-hole move. It's his fault that he's embarrassed and out of money or whatever. He jumped too far ahead in your relationship, not you. How do you owe him anything? I'm 16 male. My dad married Ellen 10 years ago. Ellen had 4 kids from her first marriage, 2 boys and 2 girls. I'm not close to any of Ellen's kids. They hated me and my dad for the remarriage. I've been told repeatedly, by all of them, that I am not their family, not their brother, not their step-sibling. I am nothing. That as far as they are concerned, I could be mauled by bears and left for dead, and they wouldn't do a damn thing to help me. And this was a direct quote from them. Ellen and I always had this weird relationship where I think she tried to be my mom. And I say I think because she made small attempts to be something to me, but then most of the time, she was focused on her own kids and dismissing the whole we're not siblings thing. This is how they treat me. My dad has always been sort of absent. He works a lot, and that is where his focus is. Ellen's son is now getting married, and Ellen told him I need to be a groomsman in his wedding, that I'm his youngest brother, and that I am part of the family, and people will question if he has his brother, future brother-in-laws, and his wife has both her sisters and his in her bridal party, but I am not included. He was pretty clear he didn't want to, but Ellen forced the topic enough that he said yes. Ellen had my dad tell me, and I told him I was not going to be a groomsman in the wedding of someone who hates me. Ellen was freaking out about it, saying, "How could I say I won't be my brother's groomsman?" I was like, "He's not my brother." I told her I don't know anyone who would say yes to being part of that, when someone else had to force the other person to let them be in the wedding. She told me families are complicated, and this is important. It carried on for a few weeks. I refused to go for a fitting with the other groomsmen, and have been very clear this is not happening. So Ellen breaks down and tells me her son's wedding needs me, and I need to think of how bad it will look if I'm not part of it. I told her I don't give a crap about her son's ducking wedding, that I am not wanted there, and I will not pretend otherwise. She said I should care, as he's my brother, and I told her to clean her ducking ears out, because someone who doesn't give a crap about me being mauled to death by bears is not going to care if I'm not at his wedding. And I told her the fact he has openly denied being anything to me and has made it clear I was never accepted as family shows he doesn't care if people know he hates me and wants nothing to do with me. She told me I should at least care enough about her not to crap all over her son's wedding, and my vulgar language is something that I need to cut out. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Ellen's kids suck, and Ellen and your dad kinda suck. Ellen for never seeing how her kids treated you, and your dad for being clueless about the whole thing. If Ellen's son didn't want you as his groomsman, and you don't want to be his groomsman, there's no reason to force it. It's unfortunate, yes, but you can't make someone like you, and Ellen can't make her son care about you. It would be nice if both she and your dad got their heads out of the sand and how badly their families have blended. But you can appreciate what Ellen has done to build a relationship with you without putting yourself through more stress and playing nice with her son. Not the a-hole. Tell your dad's wife that if you are a groomsman, you will grab the microphone and make a speech explaining why you don't want to be there. Not the a-hole. Ellen has made herself clear. She's only concerned with appearances. She doesn't want anyone outside the family to know everything isn't peachy keen. If she wanted a better family unit, she'd had ample time over the past decade to work on it, including trying family therapy or counseling. As you say, she's only made feeble efforts and your father has done nothing. She doesn't get to parade a big happy family at this wedding when she hasn't put in the work to build one. I will note that her children apparently dug in their heels like mules and refused to accept her remarriage. But that's her issue with them. You want nothing to do with this wedding or your step-siblings because of the cruel way they've treated you. And it's too little too late to try to fix it for a wedding. Especially when it's obvious Ellen doesn't want to fix it for your benefit, but only to maintain her own appearance to the public. We are moving in 2 weeks, out of state because of my husband's job. My 15-year-old daughter is less than thrilled about it. We're throwing a goodbye party, and she's inviting most of her class. She was going to the mall with some friends, and I told her she could get a new outfit for it. I gave her my card, gave her a budget, and left it at that. I checked my account later that day and realized she had spent way over budget. I talked to her, and she admitted that she had not only gone over budget for herself, but she also bought outfits for her friends. She said, "Dad has a new job, we can afford it." Then she said they planned to do it because we were making her move. I was blown away by the entitlement, took the outfit away, and then went to one friend's house, explained what happened. They said they were going to give it back anyhow because they didn't feel comfortable accepting expensive clothes from us. I go to the second girl's house. I had called them ahead of time, mind you. I didn't ambush them. And they gave me the clothes, but said they found this to be very rude. They said that these were a gift and I was taking it back. I said considering it was given without my consent, they should understand. They said their daughter was upset. I told them they were all in on this. My daughter admitted it, to get back at us for moving. Did that bother them? They didn't seem to be, which is fine, but still, I thought they'd see it from my side. I returned the clothes and got the money back. My husband thinks I should have just reported the card stolen and donated her portion of the clothes, but I said it technically wasn't since I gave it to our daughter. He says it was weird to force the other girls to give up the clothes, but we paid for them. I don't know. Was I a jerk here? P.S. We're working with our daughter on being more comfortable with the move, and we can't stop it. If we did, we wouldn't have a job or a means of supporting our family. Not the a-hole. Those parents are trash for expecting you to let their kid keep clothing they had basically stolen from you. Not the a-hole. Your daughter is. This is the same situation when someone invites their friend to your event, then makes you out as the bad guy for not wanting them there. It wasn't their invitation to give. just like this wasn't your daughter's money to spend. Not the a-hole. I would have done the same. All girls conspired to do it. I think it's theft. The only a-holes here are the little thieving girls. My brother and I used to be business partners with two other guys. We started the business together back in 2010. Things went really well until late 2018, when I started butting heads quite a bit with one of the other guys. He's one of those people who loves to assign blame to others when they screw up, but he will never accept responsibility for his own screw-ups. That doesn't sit well with me, so I would call him out on it, and he and I got into it somewhat regularly. In January of 2019, I'm ambushed by the two other partners in my office. My brother was not there, and I was informed that they have all voted, and they are buying me out of my shares of the business, and I need to leave. So, without a single conversation, my own brother voted to kick me out of our business that we started together. He was the best man at my wedding, and I was the same at his. He was my best friend, or so I thought. He told me that him not being there when they told me was his way of saying he didn't agree with it, even though they couldn't have done it without his vote. There were many other shenanigans down the road, and they used all kinds of dirty tricks to get me to sell them my shares cheaper than I should have. So not only did my brother kick me out, he profited on the purchase of my shares, which they all split evenly. My brother and I obviously no longer talk, but my family has basically said they want to stay out of it. My mom and dad, divorced, know all the details of what he did, but they don't want to rock the boat because he has young children, and they are afraid of not being able to see his 3-year-old twins. My kids are in high school. My sister won't even discuss it with me. I suspect she doesn't want to hear things about my brother that would change her opinion of him. She also wants to be able to see his kids. My other brother lives out of the country, and none of the siblings are very close with him, so he's not really involved. The rest of us all live in the same city. So I have basically cut off my family, and none of them claim to understand why, even though I have told them very bluntly that I don't approve of the I just want to stay out of it way they want to handle this. If that's how they want to do it, then they can count me out. My brother keeps reaching out to me like we're going to reconcile someday. They aren't. My sister keeps trying to plan activities with my brother and I, and our families, and I have told her, and everyone else, in no uncertain terms, that if he will be there, I will not be there. To be clear, I've not asked anyone to cut him out of their lives. I've asked them to tell him what he did was wrong, and that he needs to give me a real apology. They won't do it. I don't think I'm the a-hole, but the way my family is acting is making me feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Your brother was complicit in having you removed from a business you were integral in creating and building. He was complicit in the shenanigans that diminished the buyout you were forced to accept. He does not deserve to be included in your life. He's a thief, and he stole from you. No one should think that it's acceptable to just cover that up and act like he didn't have a major failure of character that hurt his own sibling. Your family won't stand up and call him out on how he treated you because they're afraid they'll lose access to his children. So they're throwing your concerns and issues overboard. They're as bad as he is, and you're totally in the right to cut contact. People who will throw you under a bus are not people you should associate with, and your own children shouldn't be around them either. You can't trust them to do what's right. It's just that simple. Not the a-hole. He royally screwed you over, and you have every right not to speak to him anymore. I do understand why your family is trying to stay out of it, though. If they're worried that your brother would keep his kids from seeing the rest of them if they brought it up too much. This definitely sucks all around, but it's not your fault. Not the a-hole. Start your own competing business and kick their butts. My one female relative, let's call Jane, and I are both getting married this summer, weeks apart from each other. Jane and her mom have been competitive since we both got engaged. She even suggested I move my wedding date, after the venue had been paid for, because Jane wanted to be married that week. No other reason given. Last time we saw each other, they asked about the wedding dress. I had only been to a few shops and hadn't picked yet. They were very intense about seeing my top contenders, and got very frustrated when I refused to show them. I honestly just want to keep it a surprise. She showed me her dress multiple times, and made it very clear I could not have anything similar. My wedding is first, and she seems to be having a lot of anxiety that I'll steal her dress. We will be seeing each other this weekend, and I know they will be hounding me for a pic of the dress, plus other wedding details, but I don't want them to know anything. For one, I'm quite busty, and I only have a pic of me in the sample dress where I'm basically spilling out of it. I just know they'll run around telling everyone my dress is inappropriate. For 2, I don't want them making me feel insecure about any of my wedding decisions or trying to one-up everything I'll be doing. However, I feel like if I continue to say no, I'll look like a jerk. She clearly thinks I'm hiding the fact that my dress is similar, and it's making her very anxious. So everyone is telling me to just show her, and it'll make her feel better, and that I'm just as problematic by fueling the competition. So would I be the a-hole if I refuse to show her? Not the a-hole. Show her a picture of the dress you considered, and tell her that is the dress. Then wear whatever dress you want to. Not the a-hole. Tell her you want to surprise everyone. Stick to that answer. Make this your hill to die on, because if you give in, they will take it to the next level. If it's not the dress, it will be your colors, your bouquet flowers, your bridesmaid dresses. You cannot satisfy these competitive relatives, so don't even try. Your standard answer to everything they ask needs to be, "It's a surprise." They can argue until they are blue in the face, but so what? For fun, you can act appalled that their suggestion that their relation to you entitles them to any information other guests aren't privy to. Then watch them squirm. You are not the a-hole. I have a stepdaughter, Emma, 24, and a bio daughter, Carly, 17. They are half-sisters. They hate each other. Hate might not even describe it. I'm not going to put the blame on anyone, but if they are in the same room, they would fight. They take turns initiating, though Emma has gotten slightly better in the last year or so as she has gotten older. Emma is getting married this summer in Italy. When we got our invitations, I noticed that Carly wasn't invited. Emma said it was a child-free wedding, which I fully understand, but it seems weird to consider 17 a child. I later found out that Emma's 12-year-old half-sister will be there, as well as the groom's sister, who I think is about 8, and a family friend's 2-year-old. I pointed out that this is not a child-free wedding, and Emma said that she lied because she doesn't want Carly there. I didn't say anything because it is her wedding and her choice. I told my husband I wasn't leaving Carly home alone to go to Italy for that. He pointed out that I have left her since turning 16 to go on vacation a few times. I said that just felt different, and I wasn't leaving her for a family wedding she was excluded from. Emma said she respects that and it's fine, but my husband is furious. He says I'm being selfish, ruining Italy for him, and he will be uncomfortable at the wedding. Not the a-hole. I wasn't leaving her for a family wedding she was excluded from. You are exactly right. This is different. It is pretty low that Emma would lie about it being child-free and only fessed up when you called her out on it. Your stepdaughter made her decision, which is her right. However, your husband is out of line. If you win, you would be favoring your stepdaughter over your daughter. Since your stepdaughter is fine with this, your husband needs to get over himself and butt out. Not the a-hole. How would your daughter feel if you left her alone to go overseas for the wedding of someone who hates her so much she lies about why she isn't invited? Besides that, she isn't a child, but that is a very long time to leave a teenager alone when you are an ocean away. Not the a-hole, but could you all go to Italy? Arrange something fun for your daughter while you attend the ceremony, and then enjoy Italy with her. Just wondering if there is a compromise. But you are definitely not the a-hole.